A couple weeks ago, I showed you all my colored pencils, and you seemed to like that video. So we're going to continue with that series today, and I'm going to show you my pastels. There are so many kinds of pastels in the world. You have your soft pastels, you have your chalk pastels, oil pastels, pan pastels, pastel pencils, and I gotta say, I have a little bit of each. So that's what we're gonna be discussing today. I am continuing my series where I am kind of giving you a tour of my art supplies. And since I'm a mixed media artist and I love trying different art supplies, I have a lot of them. And so I'm kind of just going medium by medium. And so second in line is going to be my pastels. If you didn't see my pencil video, I will share a link of that in the description below in case you'd like to see that one. But we're going to move on to pastels, and we're just going to keep on trucking. This is going to be another long one. I don't think it's as long as the colored pencil one, but yeah. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm going to start off by showing you my pastel pencils. I figured this would be a good place to start because my last video was about colored pencils, so we're going to lead into it with more pencils. As you can see, I keep these in the same type of drawer that I kept my colored pencils in. 2 out of all those drawers that you've seen previously are actually pastels. I have my pastel pencils in them, and then my most frequently used oil pastels, which I'll show you in a little while in this video. These drawers are definitely a very versatile storage unit to have. Anyways, as you can see, I don't have that many pastel pencils. I used to have more than this, but I took out the ones that were not light fast enough for me to use in work that I plan to sell. I actually, because I have so few, I have all of the brands in here together. So let's talk about the ones that I have. I have some of the Stabilo Carbothello, which is a very, very popular line of pastel pencil. Then I also have the Faber-Castell PanPastels. And I have the Derwent pastel pencils. So let's take a look real quick. The PanPastels have very much the regular Faber-Castell markings. It has their reorder number, and it has their light fast ratings right on the side. I believe these also match up with their other lines as far as colors go, so they can be used with their polychromos and markers. And then the Carbothello, also it has, you know, their branding, their reorder number, and it also puts the light fast ratings right on the side. And the Derwent has the classic Derwent barrel with their classic dipped color on one end, and it just says the color name and number. So I don't use pastel pencils very often anymore because I got tired of sharpening them. I am that lazy artist. I am not out here trying to use a craft knife to sharpen something. I don't want to lose a finger. I'm not coordinated enough for that. And ain't nobody got time for that. I just don't have the time for that. I got other things I want to do. However, I do like to use these as far as like doing underpaintings, and of course when I'm working with soft pastels on a sanded paper, I enjoy using these for detail. There are other artists out there like Jason Morgan. He's incredible. If you want to know more about pastel pencils, go to his channel. He'll tell you the best sharpener. He'll tell you the best pencils. He'll tell you the best techniques. He's amazing. I am not Jason Morgan. I am not him. I bought these in hopes that I could get results like I got with my colored pencils, and I did get some pretty good results. Again, I'll pop up some artwork using these, and they can be a lot of fun to work with. It's just that I don't have as much patience for the breakage, but I do want to use these a little bit more because I also haven't been using pastels as much in recent years because, as you know, I recently redid my studio. I was working in my living room for quite a while we did that. I don't want to use powdery pastels with my animals around because it's really not good to inhale. These, of course, aren't as bad as other types of pastels out there, but there's still that, you know, that messiness. And so now that I'm back in the studio, I will be using my pastels more in general, and of course I'll be bringing these in. So those are the ones that I have from sets that I just kind of put together. They all fit in one drawer. And then I have this recent set that I got from Generals. And they actually gifted this to me because I am a brand ambassador for Holbein, Generals, and Legion. And this came in the mail for me as a gift, and I just thought it was so beautiful. And so I kept it all together. This has some of their most classic pencils in it, as well as some of their pastel pencils. I needed eraser. Their charcoal pencils, a layout pencil. I have actually pulled some of these out and used them, but then I taped them back in so they could stay. And the thing that I like about Generals is they have really like sustainable packaging. They do not invest a crap ton of money into their packaging because they know that if they do that, then they're going to have to transfer those costs to us consumers. And so I love the fact that they keep their pencil packaging very simple. So that way they can produce affordable artist supplies. And that's one of my favorite things about them. I thought that the color scheme in this was really unique. I've actually used these before. I did a painting of a bumblebee on some black paper, and I used these quite a bit when I was sketching that out. These work beautifully on the Stonehenge Aqua Black. Oh, I love the way they look on that. Now, there's no Lightfast information about these, but I do think that they're really affordable, and they're a great way to dip your toe into using pastel pencils if it's something that you want to kind of experiment with. And I love the fact that they look like a regular pencil and have the eraser at the end. Again, this is a really unique color scheme, kind of earthy, which I love, but just enough variety of color that it's going to be, you know, kind of giving you an idea of what you're dealing with as far as pastel pencils go. Now, this video is not sponsored by any of the companies mentioned, even the ones that I'm a brand ambassador for. These just happen to be some of my supplies, and that's what I'm showing you today. Okay, so working my way down the line. These are almost like pastel pencils, just without the pencil. This is the kind of chalk pastel or hard pastel category. I mean, they are, I don't know if they're considered hard or soft. Some of them are hard, some of them are soft. They're all that like powdery kind of pastel. Now, I have a bunch of different kinds of this that I've accumulated over the years. Let's take a look at them. Now, let's take a look at this old set. This is definitely a student grade set. I couldn't even tell you the company that this is, honestly. I have it backwards. It is so old, you can tell it's yellowed. I've had this since I was a kid. Now, these are really soft. My hands are going to get so nasty. My hands are going to be disgusting by the end of this, but hey, that's part of playing with art supplies, right? So these, you can tell I've had for so long, and I used to do all kinds of different artwork with these in sketchbooks and stuff, which, to be fair, now it's smudged all the heck because these are not a good idea for sketchbooks. Anyway, so, but these are great for laying in larger areas. I don't use these in work that I plan to sell because I have no idea about the Lightfast ratings on them, but I still like to whip them out every once in a while and play around with them on some sanded paper. Very, very, very chalky. And you can tell that these have had a lot of love. I also like to use these to transfer my line drawing to my more finished piece of paper when I am doing an artwork. An example of this would be my most recent sketch. This was the preliminary sketch for the artwork that I did with the Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils recently. So as you can see, I sketched this on some gridded paper, and then I used some pastel on the back, and then I just traced over my drawing onto my watercolor paper, and it transferred the drawing. This is because not only am I too cheap to buy transfer paper, not really, clearly you can tell I'm really not that much of a cheapskate because you've seen the amount of art supplies I have. However, I've never bothered getting transfer paper because I like doing this with soft pastel for a number of reasons. Mainly because I can choose whatever color I want and have something that will match the artwork that I plan on working on, so that the lines hide very easily. And it's just super fun because look at this, like who doesn't like a pink drawing, right? But also because a lot of times with each medium that I'm working with, the lines are going to blend out so seamlessly. Obviously, it's going to blend out really well with pastel, but it blends out really well with colored pencil. And if you've seen my video on how to use pastels with water, these are all actually fairly water soluble, so they can wash away really easily in a watercolor painting or acrylic painting or anything like that, and blend in seamlessly with what you're working on. And so this is a great way to transfer your sketch so you still have your original sketch and don't damage your drawing paper in the process of sketching. But then also, you'll be able to hide your lines really easily. You don't have to worry about trying to cover up graphite. You don't have to worry about trying to, you know, erase things and whatever else on your expensive drawing paper if you can't blend it in, because these colors will blend in really easily with what you're doing. So that's kind of a tangent, but I figured I'd put that in there because that's actually what I use these for the most. And you'll see that I have a number of colors that I like, that I favor. But, all right, moving on. So that's probably the oldest set that I have. Well, this might be the set that I've had the longest, not necessarily the oldest set. The oldest set that I have is this set of M. Grumbacher. And I can't remember how old this is, but I feel like it's from the 70s. I don't know if it even says. But this is their 30 half-length pastel set, and it's just, you know, the half pastels. Now, this one is very sentimental to me because this came from a very special friend of my dad's that he's known since he was young, and she used to be into art. She's passed on now. But she was very encouraging when I was a child, and she would give me art supplies. And so these are from her, and I have used these quite a bit in the past, especially when I was first starting out with pastels, when I did pastel more often. I don't know the light fast ratings on these though. And I almost don't really want to use them up. There are some colors that I did come very close to using up, and now I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't. But of course, art supplies are meant to be used. But I don't think that they make this set anymore. And so I just love it. It's one of my favorite things to have in the studio. And I've had this since I was a teenager. I can't even tell you how old I was. I might have been like 12 or 13, honestly. And so I have had this for a very long time, and it's very special because of who gave it to me and because of the fact that I don't believe it's made anymore. So these are probably my favorite pastels I have, just because I'm a sentimental fool. So I definitely love these, and they're very vibrant. They're very strong color, and I really love their browns. I've used that quite a bit to transfer artwork as well. And when I'm transferring my line drawing, I'm not as concerned about it being light fast because that part is all going to be hidden. I don't need those lines to be showing up, so I'm not concerned about them fading. I'm more concerned with the finished piece fading, and that's, you know, that's why I don't use this for finished work. But these ones, again, I've decided I'm probably not going to be using as often to transfer my line work, and I have plenty of other things. All right, so let's go on to like the classic in this category, and that is Conte crayons. These are the originals, right? Like, these are a well-known form of this pastel. And again, I have a couple old sets here too. Again, I think from a friend of my dad's, and I don't remember if it was the same friend this time. I think that this came much later in my life. But these are some of the original sets. And so, again, much older. This one is the landscape set. And then this one is the portrait set. And you can see I've used these quite a bit in the past too. Not just to transfer drawings, but mostly for sketching on site. I did use some a few times when I was in school, because we used a lot of the materials like this when we were in school, when we were doing life drawings. And these are great for that. These are great for laying in things like that. And then speaking of school, these ones I got while I was in school. They were paid for with our studio fees. So one year our painting teacher had gotten us these to do our initial sketches with. And then I also have some that I had bought later on, which I didn't even realize, but I bought the portrait set at some point, or maybe somebody got these for me. I'm not sure. But it is the same as the old ones. And again, I don't remember when these are from. These might be from like the 70s or 80s. And I think the numbers are even the same as well. These seem a little bit more vibrant. My hands are already filthy. This is gross. But the packaging is a little bit sturdier. Both are still beautiful. Again, I'm not sure about Lightfast ratings on these. I'm sure the information is out there. I will try to link any resources that I have below. Clearly, I haven't been using these as much in recent years when I've started getting into learning about the fact that pigments fade and things like that. So I haven't investigated as deeply as I have with my colored pencils and other materials that I use in artwork that I sell. So, and then I have this cute little set. I think this came from Michael's. My mom got this for me as a stocking stuffer. And I just love these colors. Again, I don't know about Lightfast information, but I think these are going to be great for transferring line drawings. And these colors, if you knew my mom, these are such, like, these are my mom's colors, especially these blues. And, like, these colors remind me of my mom, so I'm not at all surprised. And I love it. They're so much fun. All right, y'all. We're getting into it now. Here we have PanPastels. And if you're not familiar with these are basically eyeshadows for artists. And speaking of that, I also have the Jane Davenport set. We'll get into that in a little bit. But these are big old pastel cakes. And they are vibrant and beautiful. And it's basically just compressed pastel in a pan. And you apply them like you would like painting, except for instead of brushes, you're using like sponge applicators. Like this is a soft tool. I'm sure plenty of you have heard of these. And these are professional grade supplies. And so they do have the pigment information on them as well as the Lightfast information. Now I have the 20 set or the 24 set? I can't remember. I think it's a 20 set of the painting colors, which basically gives you anything that you need. Like, because these are highly mixable. So you really don't need a ton of colors, but me being the art supply hoarder that I am, I did end up buying some more colors over time, but not many. I don't have many extra colors. I like a few of their shades and their pastel colors. I just think they're beautiful. So here and there, when I've done some Blick orders, I've put one or two in there. And these are available open stock, so you can buy them by individual color. And I think the pastel pencils, all the pastel pencils that I showed you earlier are also available open stock. All right, so let's just take a look. This is filthy. See that, how that sponge goes on there? Now this is a smooth paper, so it's not going to really show, but I just had it laying around the studio. You just apply it like that. It shows up better on like a sanded paper or something like that. These are fantastic for doing underpaintings for things like colored pencils, or even when you're working with pastel pencils or soft pastels or something like that. If you just want to lay in blocks of color, they are fantastic for that. I have seen some artists do complete artworks with them. I don't have the patience for that. I use these mostly as a supplement to my colored pencil. See, my colored pencil addiction really has fueled my pastel addiction and other addictions over time. And these were a purchase that I made so I could supplement my colored pencil work. That's the truth to that matter, because I already was not working with pastels as much as I used to by the time I had purchased these. But they are beautiful, and you can mix colors. Not that I really want to mix. You can mix right on the paper. Again, if you have a better paper. This isn't a great example, but yeah, these work fantastic on any pastel paper, pastel board, sanded paper. And again, they're lovely. They don't fill the tooth as fast as some of the other pastels. So again, they make a great underpainting. And they also have the colorless blender. I haven't tried that yet, but I hear that this is supposed to make them even more silky smooth. So that is something to consider as well. And I have mine set up. I actually keep these in drawers that are cassette drawers. I have a number of my pastels. These and my like chalk pastels are kept in old cassette drawers that I got from my grandmother. And if you're from the 90s, 80s, 70s, like if you're old like me, then you know what I'm talking about. We all had the cassette drawers. And for the youngins out there, not that there's many that watch my channel, cassettes are how people used to listen to music before CDs, which you might be too young to even know what a CD is. But everybody had a ton of cassettes and they needed a way to store them. And as it turns out, my grandmother still had the storage, even though she doesn't have the cassettes anymore. She gave them to me and they make a great addition to my storage for my art supplies. And you'll see more of that in a little while. Another tangent, I'm sorry. But yes, so I just stack them in groupings of colors. So these are mostly my greens. I have my reds, oranges, and yellows. Pinks and purples. See, that's one of the dark ones that I ordered separately. Oh, it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then I have my black one and then my grays and browns. Ooh, what a surprise. So this one actually has been broken since I got my painting set. It came like that. And I think there's ways to wet it down, but I just have never done it, clearly. It's still, you can still use it. So even if it comes broken, the only problem is you get a mess if you aren't expecting it. So I forgot about that. Told you it was going to get messy. But yeah, so I have my grays, my black, my browns together. And then I have my white with my blues and things like that. Just because white ears more on the side of blue, but also I have to be mindful of the height of them with the way I store them. So I did it in a way that it bugs me though that these two are shorter. I guess that means these two are shorter. So I think that means I need 2 more colors to bring them up to par. I'm just saying. Just saying. All right. Now I'm going to clean this up. Oh, wait. I wanted to show you this palette first. So this is the Jane Davenport pastel palette. And this is like, it's a portrait one. I don't even know if she sells this anymore, honestly. My sister got this for me. And again, very similar to PanPastels. They're like eyeshadows, but they're for art. And these are fun because it's got the portrait colors. Again, a great way to create an underpainting when you're working in portraits. The only thing is, with these, I don't know if they have light fast ratings on them. I will see if I can find them on her website and link them if they still are available. These were super popular for a time. Like this line that looked like makeup was super popular for a time. But I love that this one's called Birthday Suit, and my sister got it for me for my birthday. Okay, so it's as clean as it... Are you kidding me? I just put more. It's as clean as it's going to be for now. All right, so now we're coming into the soft pastels that I have. First, let's talk about the Extra Soft Pastels by Koh-i-Noor, because this is what got me started with soft pastels. Growing up, I only really knew about like oil pastels and like the chalky pastels, like what I showed you earlier. I didn't realize that these beautiful things existed in the world. Now, this is the first set I got. I got the 12 set, and then I loved them so much that I bought the 36 set. And these bad boys, you want to talk about vibrancy. Holy guacamole. Now, it's a mess. Look how beautiful it is. It's almost like it looks like they're glowing because of the staining around the sponge that keeps them in. But you can see I used a lot of the white. I like doing sunsets with these, but look at that. Look at that. Look with your special eyes. Sorry. These will run right over things. These are like, soft pastels are like the creme de la creme of pastels. They're so buttery and smooth and wonderful and luscious, and I'm getting weird now, but you get the point. I just love them. So this is the 12 set. They do have light fast ratings right on the side of them. And this is what made me fall in love with soft pastels. They're just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Very, I don't know. They feel like clay. They feel cool to the touch. And I know some of you are cringing right now. I know that you don't like the feeling of pastels. I am sick, and I do. I don't like the feeling of my hands being powdery after, but the feeling of the pastel itself, like it feels cold, like clay, and there's just something so wonderful about it. So actually holding the pastel feels so nice to me. The feeling after, not so much. Again, things you didn't really need to know about Shanna, but you're getting it anyway. And then this is the 36 set. Again, it's going to be scary. Let's see. I really wish that there was more Koh-i-Noor around here. I don't find this company as often. They have so many cool supplies. Not that I need more supplies, but this is their 36 set. And again, you can tell I used this color a lot. And I really like these for expressive landscapes and expressive sunsets. If you'd like to see me do a soft pastel video soon or a video on any of these products, let me know in the comments below. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long, lonely time since I've used my pastels. And now that I'm looking at them all and I'm getting all excited again, I'm like, yeah, I need to use these. Now that I got the studio, I need to use these again. So anyways, this is the company that made me fall in love with soft pastels. And then, of course, because I'm an art supply addict, I had to try others as well. And so that is when I got the Sennelier. And I only got the 24 set, the introductory 24 set. And these are gorgeous as well. They're a little bit thinner. Let me see. Like, these have more bang for their buck. And I think these are cheaper. So I feel like these are a little bit softer as well, but these have also been sitting for a while, so they'll get the crust to them a little bit. But yeah, love these as well. And as you can see, I did a lot of landscape work with these at one point. And so I already bought a replacement of this color. And now I don't know where it is at the moment. So I'm going to have to look and see where that is. I bought a replacement for it back when I was using these, and then I got right back into my colored pencil work again, and again, I was out of the studio. So, yeah, that's the Sennelier, or Sennelier, if you're like me, the way I used to say it. These are also obviously high quality artist grade. I mean, the name says it all. They also have the pigment information right on the side, as well as the light fast rating, and these are available open stock. I'm gonna have to check again to see if these are available. I don't remember now if they're available open stock, but definitely now that they've been sitting for a while, they're getting they're not as soft, they're more powdery than they used to be. So that's something to keep in mind. That feels very much like charcoal, as opposed to these feel like butter. They feel so buttery and smooth, which is really interesting to me because these were definitely more expensive. So anyway, those are what I have for soft pastels. I didn't end up investing in more because I was actually pretty happy with what I already had. And again, I've neglected them for a little while, so I'm going to have to use them soon. Okay. Coming into my current pastel obsession, and that is oil pastels. And you can tell that I've been into these lately because I probably have more of these now than I do other pastels. So let's take a look at what we've got. I'm going to show you the ones that I use the most. And that is the Van Gogh oil pastels. I love these pastels. I have a fairly good size set of them. They have pretty good light fast ratings, and they're really reasonably priced. And so I just love them. They're so silky and smooth, beautiful and easy to blend. And I love using colored pencil with them to create detail. I've done a number of oil pastel drawings on my channel with these pastels and some colored pencil. So lately, when I do oil pastel, or when I do pastel in general, I've been going towards the oil pastels, and it's these pastels that I've been using. Now, I fell in love with oil pastels because of these pastels, and me, being the art supply junkie that I am, again, decided to buy more pastels. So, oh man, I have a problem. I do, and my wallet has a bigger problem. So, these, as I said, are buttery and beautiful and fun and vibrant. They have the light fast ratings. They have the price. And I believe they are available open stock. I also have this set here of the Paul Rubens oil pastel. I have not tried these yet. I bought these so I could try them out. Now, these ones, I don't believe these are available open stock, but I've heard wonderful things about these. And they are so soft, like sticky. Almost in lipstick territory, but not quite there. And they feel almost slippery when applying them to the paper. So we have, there, you can kind of see the difference. See how that like smears? And this is really, again, this is just cardstock, so I wouldn't necessarily use these on cardstock, but this is kind of giving you an idea of how they smudge. These ones, I believe they do have light fast ratings for them. Yeah. They have light fast ratings on their colors here. And so you can use these in work that you plan to sell, but if you fall in love with a color, I don't think you're able to just buy it open stock. But I'm pretty excited about these. I do need to do a piece with these soon. Let me know if you'd like to see that on the channel. And then I have a couple smaller sets because I wanted to trial them. So I have the Gioconda, which is the oil pastel by Koh-i-Noor. I bought these because I'm like, I am in love with their soft pastels. I bet their oil pastels are great too. However, these seem like these are going to be the harder of the ones that I have, which might be good for like detail work and lines that you want to have stay put. They do smudge out pretty well. But yeah. I'm kind of doing these swatches for me as well because I've been wanting to compare. And again, these also have light fast ratings on the side of them, so they can be used in artwork that I plan to sell. I'm not quite sure about the open stock availability. Honestly, I've never looked into that. Sorry that I don't have all the information. I'm still, some of these sets and some of these supplies, I'm still really new to myself, and I haven't really done all the investigating yet because I usually do that when I plan on doing a specific video about the product. And so I haven't been able to do all the research that I normally would. And this really is just meant to be an overview of the supplies I own, not a full-on review anyway. So, but if anybody has more information about these products, feel free to let us know in the comments so we can learn some more. Now these ones, ooh, well, hello. These are the Neo Pastels by Caran d'Ache, and we know Caran d'Ache is a good company. These are nice and soft and buttery as well. Not as thick, not getting as much bang for our buck, I don't think. Although they are, well, yeah, they're the same length, but not as thick, which might be easier to get some fine detail, but you're getting more product with the Van Gogh. However, again, these have the light fast ratings on them. And, ooh, these are nice and soft. I can't wait to try. I'm telling you, I'm getting all excited. I got things to do, folks. I got some projects that I need to do. A lot of projects. And not enough time. So I only have the 12 set of these, and I figured if I try them and I fall in love, I'll invest in a bigger set or maybe buy some open stock, because I believe these are available open stock. I'd be very surprised if they weren't. And yeah, so far
I'm already very excited about these. I think they'll work really well with the other brands I have as well. And that's something else that's important to me is I like to be able to use my supplies all together. I'm not going to be just loyal to one brand. I like to try out different supplies and I like them to all work together. Now, here we are with Sennelier. And these are, to my knowledge, the softest oil pastels, at least the softest artist grade oil pastels on the market. To my knowledge, again, don't quote me on that. I only bought the test pack. This is something that I love about them is they offer test packs of a lot of their products. So you can get a smaller pack and see if you like it before investing in a bigger pack. And this only has 6 in it, but I believe they do that with some of their watercolors and stuff like that as well. Again, this is a very good brand. These might even be a little too soft for the way I like to work. Look how they package these. 6 little sticks in like 8 inches of foam. Not really, but that's pretty thick. She's thick. That's a lot of foam for such tiny little pastels, and I love it. I'm here for it. So let's take a look. Let's do a blue. These are the ones that I could probably put this on like lipstick right now. I don't recommend it. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that, but look at that. So soft and buttery. And again, it makes me think of lipstick. Doesn't smell like lipstick, but it makes me think of lipstick. So these are supposed to be the smoothest and butteriest. And a lot of people highly recommend these, which is of course why I decided to grab some. I've had this for quite a while, and these again have the light fast ratings on the outside. But yeah, so that's what I have. Oh, hang on. I can't leave this one out. This is the best oil pastel that I have. And that is the Crayons. This is a classic. This is, oh, I can smell my 2nd grade art class when I open this. This is one of the only student grade, like, lines that I really keep in my... These are what make us all either love or hate oil pastels, right? We remember these from when we were little children, and these ones are probably older than I am, honestly. Again, I've always had, my dad always had friends that were really supportive of my artwork, and when I was a kid, they would give me art supplies and things like that. I think this might be one of those cases, because this is definitely a really, really old box. And I feel like I had a newer set, and I ended up giving them to my nephews and niece or something like that. But I kept these because I've had them since I was a kid, and you can't go wrong with the classic Crayons. Again, I don't know about light fast ratings, but these are fun to play around with, and it's good to practice with. Again, this might be an area where you might want to pick some of these up. They're fairly soft for a student grade pastel and fairly inexpensive, but it's a good way to practice to see if you'll even like the medium. I don't know. They're a classic. These will always be in my studio. I definitely am not using them in work that I plan to sell, but I ain't getting rid of them either. Okay, forward and onward. Now we are coming into wax pastel territory. Basically, artist grade crayons. The ones that I have the most of are the Neo colors by Caran. Now, these ones are their Neo color ones. I also have some Neo color 2s that I'll show you in a minute. The difference between these and the Neo color 2s is these ones are not water soluble. So these are like your typical Crayola. Whereas the Neo color 2, they're like a watercolor product. So you can wash them out with water. So let's take a look at the 2 sets that I have of the Neo color 1. And I've been using these a lot in recent years. I started off with the Neo color 2, honestly. But I feel like these don't get the representation that they deserve because these are really beautiful pastels. A lot of people don't really think much of them because you can't blend them out with water, but they still blend very, very well on paper anyway. So I have this 10 set of metallics, and I love the way Caran does their packaging. Look at these stickers. These are so much fun. I'm going to have to figure out what to do with them. Little gouache. You can't really see them because they're white on white, but they have some crayons here. They have a Neo color 1, a Neo color 2, and a gouache. I love it, and it has a gouache pan too, because I love their gouache, but that's for another video. We'll talk about that later. But look at these. Aren't they so fun? And I honestly have no idea what I would use these for as far as artwork that I plan to sell, although it would be kind of fun to do some gold accents and things like that. We're going to get our nasty paper over here, and this paper is a little bit smoother than what I would work on, but let's see if we can. She glitzy, she golden. All right. So this is just their set of their metallics, and we've got gold, dark gold, bronze, scarlet, rose, violet, phthalo blue, phthalo green, silver, and ash gray. So they're really, really pretty. They're fun. They're just great. Kind of like a specialty thing. I think I'll use these a lot for my sketchbook and things like that. My husband bought these for me as a stocking stuffer, and it's just like super cute. Either a stocking stuffer or in one of my Easter baskets. Because yes, I'm spoiled like that. My husband does an Easter basket for me. Okay, and here is the set of 40. I believe this is the largest set that you can get in the Neo Color 1, whereas the Neo Color 2, they have a lot more colors, and I really wish that there were more colors in this line, because lately I've been using these more than my Neo Color 2s. Now you'll see a couple colors that I have turned upside down, and these are the ones that aren't as light fast as the other colors. That's just my way of notifying myself when I'm working on artwork that I plan to sell. I use those colors otherwise in my sketchbook, so that's why I didn't get rid of them. But I just keep them that way so that it will trigger me to remember not to use it when I'm working on something that I'm going to be selling. And you can tell there's some colors that I've used more than others. I have the black here. I definitely love that. The white, obviously. And you can actually sharpen these with, if you get like a metal comb sharpener and it has like the small hole and the larger hole, you can sharpen these with the larger hole. I love these, and the advantage to using a wax pastel over something like an oil pastel or even a soft pastel is they're not going to move as easily. There are ways to blend them. You can build these up like you would colored pencil. These are kind of like a big old soft colored pencil. That's what I love these for. So you can blend these and burnish them similar to a colored pencil. They're not going to smear as bad, and I like to use these in conjunction with my colored pencils and use the colored pencils to get finer detail. And you're not going to have as much fallout. Obviously, other pastels shed a lot more. They smear a lot more. They're more delicate. They're a little bit harder to frame because of that and store because of that. And you don't have that same issue with the wax pastels. These are vibrant and beautiful, and they have light fast ratings, and they are available open stock. Okay, so now let's move on to our water-soluble options. The first ones being the Neo Color 2, and I also have the Aqua Sticks by Cretacolor, and I threw these right in with that. I actually have a video about the Aqua Sticks. It's an old video. It's not my best work, but it's there if you want to learn more about the Aqua Stick. I think most of us have probably heard of the Neo Color 2s by Caran d'Ache. Again, they look very similar to the Neo Color 1s. And we can kind of just do a comparison here. They did change up the packaging a little bit, so you can kind of tell. And these also peel. They have these like little peely tabs, so when you get further down the crayon, you can just peel the paper off. So you're not like sharpening the paper in your sharpener, and it's not getting in your way. But, so as you can see, just minor differences in the way that they've done their packaging. Says Neo Color 2 Aquarelle, so right here it's telling you that it's water soluble. And neither one of these actually have the light fast ratings written directly on them. I actually went through the color chart and I put dots to signify the light fast ratings. That's one of the only things that I was kind of bummed about. Like, come on, Caran d'Ache, you know better. Just put the light fast ratings on it so that we can tell. If you want to buy something open stock in a store, you don't have to look it up online. Actually, I don't know if they are open stock in stores or not. I've never been into a Blick, but they are open stock online. Either way, they should have the light fast ratings on them. But anyways, that's just something that's always bugged me. But yeah, so very similar packaging, but The Neocolor one has like these dots on it, whereas this has like a strip at the bottom. And you can use these in conjunction with each other. So similar to if you want to use watercolor pencil with regular colored pencil, you can use these in similar ways. You can use your Neocolor one to place lines that you don't want to have move, and your Neocolor twos to have the water-soluble aspects to them. I have way more of the Neocolor twos, I think, because I've bought some open stock over time, though I think originally I had like maybe a 40 set of them. I don't have the full set. I think the full set is like 84 of them or something like that. I never invested in the full set. But again, you know, you can mix these really easily because they're water soluble. So you don't necessarily need a ton of colors. And you can scratch these on the Caran d'Ache Aquarelle palette. You've seen me use this palette a lot in other videos. I use it with my ink tints and my water-soluble pencils. Again, if you can't afford this palette, you can get a plastic cutting board from Amazon that has a bit of a rough texture on one side. It'll do the same trick. It's probably better to use it for art than for cutting meat because having a rough texture is gross when you're cutting meat. Like, why would you want that? Why would you want the bacteria to sink in? Anyways, I digress. But yeah, so it's got a smooth side and a rough side. And that's basically what this was made for, was these. Spray it. I just sprayed it with water. So then you can use this palette, lift it with your brush, and paint it on like a watercolor. So there's many ways you can use this. You can also wet your brush. And then run it across. Let me see if I get a darker color. And you can do this with the aqua sticks as well. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can use these. They're very, very versatile. Anytime you have something that can be used both wet and dry, you're opening up all kinds of opportunities for yourself, especially for mixed media. So this is one of the cassette things that I was telling you about. You can see it's totally 80s. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'll pop up a clip here, but these fit really well. It used to be the cassette tapes would sit in these slots, but each of these slots holds between like 2 and 4 crayons, and they fit perfectly. So just a great way to upcycle for some storage. And if you'd like to see how I like my storage solutions for the studio, let me know, because I can do a video about that at some point as well. Now, moving on to the next water-soluble wax pastel that I own. I have here a set of the 24 art bars by Derwent. I don't think they make these anymore, and many of you have probably never even heard of these. I bought these like, I don't know, 12 years ago at Staples. I just happened across them at Staples. Like, it was just a random thing. I wasn't even at an art supply store. And the really cool thing about these is they are triangular. And they're just really fun to work with. And these are getting older now, so they're getting a little bit stiffer. Again, it's one of those use it or lose it things with your art supplies. I still have some water here. They don't wash out as neatly as the Neocolor 2s, but they're very much a similar idea. I was actually looking up these pastels a while back to see if they still made them, and there was some press about them and how they were shaped like Toblerone, and I love that because I'm a chocolate fiend, and so I'm like, of course I was attracted to these, but I do like the unique shape. It fits really well in the hand. I don't believe they're available anymore, though, open stock or otherwise, and I can't really find any good Lightfast information on them. So, while I think these will be fun to play around with in the sketchbook, and I want to do more of that, I definitely won't be using these in work that I want to sell. If you'd like to see me do some sort of art piece with these on the channel, let me know. It's just kind of fun, because you know I love my Derwent products, and I think that this one's a really cool one. But I just don't know what the availability is anymore. And something else that I really think is cool about this set is that it has it set up by different kinds of colors. And so we have our brights, we have our earth tones, our pales or pastels, and our darks. And I always thought that was really cool too. I just love themed sets. I just think it's so much fun. And it does look like at some point they had a reorder number. I wish they had light fast ratings right on them though. I'm sure they had ratings out at the time, but the last time I was looking these up, I wasn't able to find very much information about them. But totally fun. Again, one of those things that I've had in the studio for years and years and years, and I definitely want to play with them more. One reason why I'm doing this series is also to help me set eyes on what I have and really come back to the fact that I have all these fun supplies and I need to revisit them and get re-inspired about the supplies again. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to show you is perhaps not really considered a pastel, but I put it in this category because it's not a pencil and I don't know what other category to put it in. So that is the Derwent Inktense blocks. They essentially are a pastel, right? Because they work very similar. They are like the pastels I showed you before, but more dense. You can definitely use them for mark making while dry, similar to a pastel, but you'll wash them out to get that fun ink-like consistency that they're known for. If I can find my brush. I have many videos about these on the channel, and this is in response to their pencil line. Because they have the Inktense pencils, then they also have the blocks, and they work very well together. And they also have pans now too, but I'll talk about those when I get to my watercolor series, because there's going to be a video about that at some point as well. So I love these. I love these so much. This is probably my most used in this video. This is my most used product because I use Inktense very often. They're very popular on the channel. And so... and I love them. I love them so much. Now, these can be used like watercolor pans. So, as I just showed you, you can use them dry. Or, what I like to do is, I just wet my brush. And you can see here, I've done this quite a bit. Some of these, the writing is starting to go away. I need to flip them so I can do it on the back side so I don't lose what color I've got. But, I like to wet my brush. Then I wet the block and then I bring it over. And again, ideally I'd be doing this on a watercolor paper, not just cardstock. So this isn't giving a great representation of how it looks. I also like to use this palette for these. Again, use the rough side. Now, if I want something highly saturated, I'm going to pull it directly from the bar. As you can see, you've got a lot of pigment there. But if I want something a little less saturated and more diluted, I'm going to scribble it on my palette first and then bring it over. And you can see it's a little bit fainter. So that's a good way to try and balance out how much pigment you are using. But yeah, these are available open stock. And again, I love to work with these with the pencils. And I will link any of the related videos and any of the supplies below so you can learn more about them. So that's it, really. That is my pastel collection so far. Let me know if you've used any of these products and tell me in the comments, what is your favorite kind of pastel to work with? Are you a pastel pencil girly, or are you a fan of the soft pastels or oil pastels? Do you go for the wax like I do often? Let me know what your favorite one is, and let me know what your favorite brand is.
All right, folks, that's it. That was my pastel collection. If you would like to see any of these products used in a specific video in the future, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know, what is your favorite kind of pastel? Do you like oil pastels like me? Are you also a sucker for punishment? I know so many people hate them. But thank you for watching this. It was a long one. You are a champion. You are a pal if you got this far. I think that the next medium I might do, maybe graphite, maybe markers. Markers are not I don't have as many markers, so it will not be a long video if I do markers. I think I'm kind of working on this shelf first, and then I'll start moving into the paint. And I don't have my graphite over here, but I do have my markers here. This is mostly pastels, colored pencils, markers, and then I start going around the room with the rest of my supplies. Anyway, it's going to be a series, so there'll be more. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I'm leaning towards markers so I can get this shelf done, and then maybe I'll move on to graphite and charcoal and things like that. But all right, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to watch this one as well. Hit like, hit subscribe, you know the deal, and I will see you next week. You have a fantastic day. Bye.